We're live?
Bam! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Our Anime Podcast. Another episode, another week of Attack on Titan, final season. This is episode 9 we're talking about. And it's just, right now it's just 3 of us. Me, Shaw, Panic, usual gang. We do have a friend who will be joining us pretty soon.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we had to get an early start. There he is. I hear something.
Oh, look. Made a grand entrance. That's awesome.
Wow, that was perfect timing.
It was actually perfect timing.
Paki.
Okay,
Good friend.
how do we refer to you so it doesn't sound like we're saying a racial slur?
Just say Pak, it's fine.
Pak? Okay.
Pak.
Is that better or worse?
He's Puck. It's Puck from ReZero.
I believe it's fine.
Okay, if it's fine with you, I just want everyone to know that it's fine with you. So we're not trying to start any we're not trying to,
Check.
we're not trying to make bad moves.
Of course not.
Instead, we're trying to make fast moves because we've got a hard out.
Yeah, so if you guys did not know, Maz's father is actually Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
So he constantly refers to him
Maz
as his
has
father.
to drive him somewhere. Very important.
So his mom has got to get him in the minivan to go to the game. So we're trying to finish up before the Super Bowl starts in like an hour. So, and it kind of works out because we don't have too much to talk about. This is obviously like an important episode, but very much, transition episode before the big stuff happens.
It's a lot of... Man, I was about to say filler, which isn't wrong, but it's filler in the good way.
No,
that's a trigger face.
Very wrong, but a little unfair on the context that we got.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like, I know that Panic had a couple questions of like, okay, how did we get here? 3 years have passed. Like, what's going on?
This is
the answer to that.
3 years since like a patrol went missing. What happened with that? And we got it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They recruited the tallest girl in the world.
Yeah, she's
Yelena.
Taller than... I saw the height scale. I think she's 202...
character in the show. On Titan.
2 meters? Or milliliters? I'm not centimeters. 202 centimeters. I'm sorry. I'm from the US. We don't have...
202 meters.
200... She is a
Titan,
Titan.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a true Titan. Yeah, I'm sorry. Excuse my Americanness. So she's very tall.
100th scale version of the Colossal Titan.
Quite the definition of UC Big Girl right there.
Yeah. Did I tell you guys how like me and Pac were talking about it, and we were talking about the song choice for that episode. And when someone said the name of that track is UC Big Girl, I thought that was like a Twitter user who made a remix of it. So I actually looked up that account and they were tweeting about the episode. So I was like, where's their remix? And then it took me a bit to realize like, no, that's just the hype track that everyone's talking about. Like, it's just actually called that.
Yeah. I had a thought this episode too, when they take the Marleyan captives like Yelena and Niccolo and what was the black guy's name?
I can't say his name. Please don't ask me. Oh,
it was a kind of complicated name.
Oh, yeah. I just don't remember it at all. But when they looked at him, I was like, have they seen a black person before? I can't remember.
I don't think they have.
And they haven't, because then Sasha asks, "Why is your skin dark?"
She pulled a legitimate. What's the Mean Girls like? Why are you black?
Why are you black?
He like actually said that, and and no one was like, Sasha, you can't just ask people why they're black.
What the fuck?
God damn it, Sasha.
God damn it. Oh, as expected. But
this is why Sasha got shot.
Yeah, racism.
Wow.
She saw color, so she got to go. Yeah. Onion Capon.
Onion.
He's like an onion.
It's onion coupon, basically.
Onion coupon.
Onion
Oh,
coupon.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that.
I love that.
It was adorable seeing like Hanji learning about like technology. They're like, "Oh, we have flying military," and she's like, "The fuck? You can do that?"
They're like trying not to reveal like how much
Play
they
cool,
don't know.
So they don't know that we don't know.
Play cool. We don't know what airplanes are.
She's just losing her shit.
I love.
Particularly was great.
I love
Hanji
Hanji losing her shit.
that opening thing. Oh, hello, welcome. Would you
It's
like
really
some
funny.
tea?
It's always been funny because I remember since I just have been recently rewatching and I got to season 3, it's like she had to go like torture those military police douchebags, and she's like, "Hey guys, this is my first time torturing, so like please be kind, please bear with me, like
I
I'm new at
remember
this."
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
her so much.
I love Hanji. She is great. Apparently they're a gender neutral character, so I'm still not sure. I'm not sure, but I always thought
that's what Under the
she was
Scope
female.
said. Scope said that
The Scope said that,
the series has
but
never.
I don't know if
used...
that's just like on purpose or if they
This is
just
like-
have never said her
I don't-
about her.
I've seen it in some
the manga,
subs where they
in the
say she.
manga, It's
Okay.
not obvious. In the anime, it's assumed to be a female.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
yeah. It's kind
I
of like
mean-
Pito. It's kind of like Pito with the Hunter x Hunter, the cat girl. Well, cat and so
Cat
yeah,
person.
Cat,
It's just
cat
a cat
thing.
girl. It's just ruined
Cat
it.
shit.
Cat
It's just
thing.
natural. But yeah, so
The cat.
Hanji's great. Love Hanji.
Yeah, her
Hanji is-
exuberance and comedic value was great this episode, especially when she was having a skit with Nicola, who wasn't having it.
Yeah.
Her
Uh,
gender is dork.
her gender is
Yes.
curious. Gender curious.
Yeah.
I think it's so funny. I love just like the way they presented all of that. I love that. So cool, just to show the gradual, mix of Marley. I guess the Marlians who are being held captive and the Paradise Eldians. And it's been interesting to see. It's kind of really cool when they show that they're all kind of bonding over discovery.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. But I also really love the scene of Eren with Mikasa and Armin, and the way, it shows like Armin and Mikasa are kind of like trying to think of alternatives for like maybe if we show them that like we're
Yeah.
not bad, and Eren's like, war was the only option, and he just keeps
War was the
shooting
only
shit.
never an option.
Yeah.
He really
Everybody
said
thinks
that.
we're scary monsters who can turn into titans, and you know what? They're not wrong.
Yeah, and it's like, and you're like, okay, so we know how this ends, and then
Yeah.
I love the transition of like the gun he shoots becoming the shot that hits Sasha, and that's like traumatizing Armin, and he's talking about that to Annie. But like that was just such a like really cool scene that gets the point across really well, and how they could see that
Mhm.
as like what he did kind of started that.
I
So
like that at the shooting range.
Yep.
Mikasa looking good, by the way. Mikasa, that
does.
like pencil skirt, the combat jacket, rifle combo, really pulling it off. I like that she's like trying to be in on the conversation and like make suggestions. And I almost wanted someone to look at her and just be like, "Who gave you agency? What the fuck are you doing?
who said you could talk?
Who said you could talk? Why are you suddenly having ideas?"
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I think I was saying like we don't have too much to talk about, but there's actually a lot that went down this episode.
It's
like
a lot of
when
little things, just
lot of
like
very little
information
things.
that's been filled in. And
yeah, a lot of information filled in, and then like a lot of kind of like sad developments, like at the graveyard, with them all kind of coming together over the unfortunate death that happened last week. That was really sad, but like very well done. Felt bad. I'm trying to think. Okay, so people still have the audacity to tell me Levi is not top tier when Zeke is trying to make conversation with him, and he's like, "I could kill you now or later, and I don't give a shit." How do people have the audacity to try and say that that's not top tier? Who are these people? I hate them. Why do they do
so
this?
funny with the height chart. He's like 160. That's
Yes.
nothing. He's
my height. I checked.
He's as
He is
tall as you.
5'3". He is my
5'3".
height. He is
That is
5'3".
peak manlet.
He is.
But he's also just so threatening.
He is.
I
it's
like
just
it.
so
I
great.
like him though.
And he
Yeah.
just talks shit to everyone.
But-
He's just like no fucks given.
I love him with Zeke. Zeke's just trying to have a nice, pleasant conversation, and Levi's like, "Dude, if you even slightly piss me off, I'm going to absolutely fuck you up. You just fucking wait, man. I'm going to end your existence. I'm going to own your ass."
And they
I
made him
love it.
a custom hotel room in a tree. How nice of them.
I love it. And it's like half.
Perfect.
It's like half because they hate him, and half because they actually do have to guard him, and because
Yeah.
he's a monkey titan.
He's a big monkey, so he lives
so
in the
they're
tree.
like, yeah, you should love it here.
I love it here. It's very
Classy
cool.
Ulysses says they're not a Levi fan, and 2 messages before they said fight, fight in quotes, but that was actually foreshadowing for what I'm going to do to them because they're not a Levi fan. So
That's not very classy, Ulysses.
very
But also,
classy.
yeah. Blub Blub mentions a good moment, which was Hans just staring down the barrel of the pistol, like, "Oh, look at this
that
thing!
was a bit of an
What does
awkward
this
moment.
do?
Wow, it can shoot multiple shots. Wow!"
I love that. I
So
should
this
think
like it does a good job like outlining the technology that we take for granted that they just didn't have, like trains on rails.
Yeah, it's
And
almost like 100 years in the
multiple
future.
shot pistols, because they had that whole thing with Kenny and his
Yeah.
his band of gang of bandits earlier, and I was wondering like, why are they shooting one shot and then replacing the entire barrel just
Yeah.
to get another shot in it? It's because they just never invented magazines.
Yeah, and I guess they just don't have a lot of technology, and it's interesting to see them trying to catch up.
For people who invented ODM gear, they
Yeah.
slacked on a lot of other.
And somehow the most interesting invention of all was seafood, because they didn't have a fucking ocean, so they were
Oh,
trying
shit.
seafood for the first
Oh my
time.
god, Sasha just losing
That
her
was
shit.
so funny.
Sasha
Eating an
losing
entire
her.
crab just like a burger.
She was eating all of them, and that's like, it's really funny because like food has always been her thing, but it's also kind of cool to show that like food brings people together. Not to get too sentimental, because it's mostly just funny that she's like chowing down on like 5 lobsters at once. That's mostly it. But I think it's like,
That tastes good.
yeah, it tastes good. You love to see it.
Right? Should we let Pak talk now?
Oh yeah, I'm so sorry.
Well, you guys didn't mention it, but when they were talking about Paradis, Lelena and Onyankopon said that the Titans, the pure Titans outside the wall, were meant for Paradis to fear them, and it's actually had the opposite effect, as it's now a defensive wall for Paradis. So there's that, and there's also the fact that they lost 2 Titans over there, which caused Mali to war with other countries. So
Yeah.
even with the dual Titan, even though they had Ymira, that was a recent addition for them. So they technically lost 3 Titans.
That's so true, and that's like
true.
I think that
It's
is an
like
interesting.
Marley losing Titans lessens their stance military wise.
And they
Yeah.
just had gotten a war win.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What did
I
you
think-
did you say? The Titans were meant for them to feed on? Was that what you said?
No, essentially what I was talking about is in Paradis, the Titans that are there are the pure Titans that Marley put there. And what they haven't realized is that's actually given Paradis a lot of defense.
Yeah.
Because even though Marley can scout out the island, there's still blind spots like what happened with Ymir.
Yeah.
Bertold, Reiner, Annie, Marcel, they did not know that there was a Titan right beneath them. And that
Yeah.
killed one of them. So they didn't have enough intel.
Yeah, it's
No.
kind of like when they have like landmines, and then like you step on your own landmine, because it's like
Yep.
they put it there to try and contain them, but then it's like a double-edged sword, so it has hurt them as well, which is
Yeah.
very interesting. And if it tells me anything, it's that Marley is very bad at war. Like they just actually kind of suck.
Yeah,
Well,
we
yeah.
saw them from the outside in as Paradis did, because we saw the Beast Eye and we thought these guys are jacked. They've
Yeah.
got so many weapons, and it turns
Mhm.
out the reality is very different. Because
think
we
they're-
see Reiner, we see Bertold as warriors, murderers,
Yeah.
and Reiner is more like Evan of last season than
Yeah.
Evan is, which is insane.
That's
Yeah,
a really
I think-
cool connection
I think
that I
as a
haven't.
country. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. I was just gonna say
Oh.
that's a cool connection in terms of like, everyone makes connections between like their attitude and kind of like, different perspective. But in terms of like inexperience and like vulnerability, I think that's a cool connection to make.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think the reason Marley sucks at war is that they're very dependent on both their fleet, like we see that the Navy is very important to them, and Titans.
Mhm.
And now they have less Titans. They are used to just like having the big guns.
Now they have no
The
guns.
little details of warfare is like lost on them.
So this is an interesting question. Gaping Thrower 20 asked, what is your take on the sea conch symbolism that we got to see during Armin's talk? What do you guys think?
What is the symbolism?
I didn't think about
That's
this.
what I ask you. I asked
Maybe
the
there's
question.
something about conscious I don't know.
I think Maz, PK, did you guys have anything? I have a take on it, but
I have no
I did
idea.
not have a take.
so I think it's the take that Armin always wanted to get to the ocean, of learn new things, and he's kind of holding on to that, even though it's very clear that the scope of everything has changed. So they gaping thrower too, or no, tyrannical T. That's a good response. He says, when you depend on one thing, you're going to focus entirely on that one thing, and I think that's a cool
they don't
take
have
on
that.
it.
It'll be like if a country is focused entirely on, oh, we have nukes, and then suddenly all their nukes are gone. What the fuck do you do then?
Yeah. And it's interesting because now we know that Zeke has his own plan that's completely different from the other plans going on. But we don't know what the plan is thus far. We just know that there is a plan and that the people from countries that have been overtaken are siding with Zeke. They have a lot of respect for him. So, shit's going down around the horizon, but there's a lot of intrigue.
I'm not sure who's in charge of the plan at this point. Is it Yelena? Is it Zeke? But also Eren went ahead and just did his own thing. Who's calling the shots?
I mean,
Who
if
indeed?
Yelena is to be trusted, she's apparently a massive simp for Zeke, so...
Yeah.
Oh my god, that look in her eyes.
Yeah.
She's like a King Kong fan watching the new King Kong. Just like, oh, monkey!
We don't need to ask what side she's on for King Kong versus Godzilla.
Jesus H. Christ.
Yeah, that's the best take we've had thus far.
Yelena's just the reverse Zeke. Doesn't want to kill, or not the reverse Zeke, the reverse Levi. She doesn't want to kill Zeke. Is also much taller.
She doesn't have ODM gear.
44 centimeters taller than him. She's insane.
What did you mean?
Oh my gosh, she probably is 2 feet taller than him. I have to do the math. I'm sorry.
You said Levi's.
That's like a foot and a half. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Levi's 5'3", then she's 6'9".
Is she 6'9"?
Yeah.
I thought she was
6'9", dude.
Oh my gosh, let's episode next week. Oh my god.
Maybe that's her episode.
No, wait, never. No, I think it's 6'7".
Oh, 6'7". Okay.
Didn't have to see that. Now you ruined it.
Yeah.
No, we're going with 6'9". We're going with that.
You chose to share that. That's on you.
It is going to be episode 6'9" next week.
With the crystal.
Oh,
what
sorry.
I found interesting is how Mikasa was mourning.
Yeah.
Armin is mourning himself, and Eren doesn't have time to mourn. He just wants to push forward.
He's got to keep moving forward and fight.
That's a real flip on Mikasa and Eren's emotions. Usually Eren is the one who's doubting himself, and Mikasa is the one who seems more emotionless, but the emotions have flipped in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's interesting because they really have changed perspectives, and I think it's interesting to see everything about Eren in this episode is just so completely different, and I think it's also interesting to confirm some of the suspicions he had last season that he didn't mention, and it's interesting just to show his motives, that he's not just doing this for himself. He does have people he wants to protect. He wants to protect Historia. He wants to protect. I'm going to assume he wants to protect other people, but it is interesting because I think his motives are just as mysterious as the current plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was something else that happened? I forget that. Oh, so this is irrelevant, but my sister might start because of man bun Eren because she thinks he looks hot. I think that's a huge development in terms of my family becoming weebs. So I just wanted to share that. So, I think so. Hopefully they don't mess that up. I don't think they messed it up by the end. We were kind of talking about that before we started recording. Not too important, but fingers crossed for the conversion of my family. So.
Oh,
I mean,
I remember the
thing as well. So I'm not surprised.
Oh yeah, of course. People are jacked. That's of course very important. We have 6-pack Eren finally.
Yeah.
8-pack, more like.
8-pack Eren. We have shredded Eren. Another thing I remembered is that the Marleyan troops stole a box of Titan serum.
Yes.
What can they do with that? Aren't they all Titan convertible already?
Well, they're not able to be converted into Titans unless they're injected with the serum. So injecting them with the serum turns them into a Titan.
What are they going to use it for?
I don't know.
That's a good
Trying-
question,
I don't know.
Panic.
I don't know, Panic.
Very
How is-
interesting, Panic.
Interesting.
Very
That seems like a last ditch effort. Like to if everything goes to shit, then you turn everybody into walking weapons.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess it's like important leverage in case, you know, they mentioned that. I mean, just from the information we have, you know, Zeke only has less than a year. What if they're trying to pass his Titan on to someone? You know, we don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
But don't they
I mean, I
turn
don't
right
know.
away when you inject them?
I think so. I think
Yeah.
that's how it works. That's based on what we've seen so far.
Yeah, it would be smart to pass on Zeke's power to someone before he just dies. And they
Yeah.
have him now. Now would be the time.
Levi's so disappointed he can't kill him. He's like, damn
Is
it,
this
we have
the-
to make use
Is
for
this
him.
the first episode? Is this the first episode we've heard about the rumbling as in named?
No,
No,
definitely
I
not.
think they
pretty sure
mentioned-
that Willie named it when he had his speech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rumbling? Yeah. It's a silly, silly name. Sorry, it just is.
The rumble.
The
It just
Unleashing
sounds like
a
massive
million
Titan is hungry,
walking-
That's what it sounds like.
Well, because it sounds like the
monsters.
rumble rumble, kind of like the grumble grumble we have each year.
but
I mean, each week.
But it's a goofy word. The rumbling. It does not sound threatening
Well,
at
maybe.
all.
Well, maybe if you hear the rumbling, it sounds kind of threatening. You don't know yet.
That's
Maybe you
probably
got.
really scary. But
You gotta-
rumble
okay.
is not a. It's not a scary
Okay,
word.
this is how we'll fix it. Turn on Jumanji. You know when they have that stampede scene? Turn that on. That
That's
sounds
the
like
rumbling.
rumbling. You'll be scared. Boom.
Yeah.
Put on Lion King. They have a stampede there. Lots of
Well, now I
rumbling.
just want to rewatch Jumanji.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be as scary if they just said rumble, 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 rumble.
Just because we mow like
Well,
mow
like
eyes.
the Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bunch of rumblers.
Yeah, so that's been mentioned before. Aaron brought it up again. We all kind of forgot about it, but he's kind of like, yep, that's the only option. And we're like, I don't know about that. And he's like, no, only option.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's
so
the only
okay.
choice. But what if no? Fuck you.
The rumbling
Only
is like
choice.
the movie 2012. I love that movie.
2012. Oh, is that the one?
Wow. No.
Oh, is that the one where the world dies?
Yeah.
I mixed it up with like Day After Tomorrow.
Well, that's also where the world dies.
Yeah, it's kind of the same concept.
Oh, what did you guys make of as soon as the plan through how the military was holding Yelena's group up and they're like just surrounding them with guns? What do you take of that?
Oh,
I mean,
That's just
can they
like
trust them?
safety, isn't it?
Because
It's like
Zeke
distrust.
took out almost the entirety of the Survey Corps in last season. So it kind of makes sense from their perspective.
Yeah, I think it definitely makes sense, but I think it's interesting because you kind of feel bad for that crew because they're like, yo, we taught you all your shit and now you guys don't trust us. And they're like, sorry, but we hate Zeke, so
yeah.
fuck him.
It's
Sorry.
a safety precaution, and it's understandable. But yeah, but it sucks. I do like Yelena.
I like
Please
her-
understand.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah, I think she's cool. I think she's been a cool addition. I like the guy whose name I can't say because that's hard mode English.
Onion.
Onion
Onion
coupon.
Onion
Onion
coupon.
coupon.
Char, don't you read the manga? You should probably know his name by now.
Yeah, but I
But
read it.
it
And I
doesn't have a
don't think
pronunciation guide.
Yeah.
And
why.
this is Shah you were talking to.
that's why it's
You're
extra
totally
hard.
right.
Shaw pronounce words challenge extra hard. That's like that's just
I
like
thought-
final boss.
Shah thought Jeff was Geoff.
No, I was just nervous. I was so nervous, and I was like,
Starstruck.
such a backfire.
It's understandable.
Epic
was
moment.
It happens.
Epic gamer moment.
It's like Loki kind of sounds better though. You got to admit, Jeff kind of boring. Everyone's saying
I do like
Geoff.
Geoff. It's very
Influencer.
futuristic.
big
Oh my god.
big YouTube channel, big move maker. I
Yeah.
kind of feel like it's an upgrade, but I don't know if he's
Oh.
open to that.
I remembered another thing.
Ooh.
Annie. Annie's
yeah.
still in the crystal.
How
5
did-
years later, Annie's still in the crystal.
Annie's
Question:
still- How do
Do
you
you
survive
do you age in the crystal?
I don't know.
Apparently
Her
not,
hair.
She didn't look
Do
different.
you grow? Do you does anything work? Because it like we saw Warhammer Titan in the crystal, and she was like looking around and was aware. Is
I,
Annie aware? Is she like?
I don't
thinking?
Well, I
No.
think that's a different crystal.
They
yeah, I
look
think
the
it's
same. Like this one doesn't have a umbilical
No, I
cord,
believe
but
it's
they
the
look the
crystal
same.
because Aaron made the comment that this is the same crystal as Annie's.
I think it's the
Oh,
same
that's why-
material, but this is more like a stasis thing.
yeah, it's an interesting question of like what can or can't she do, Also, how is she surviving? And how do you get away with that? I want to sign up for that. This is kind of like those ice crypto things where they like someone has cancer, so they like put their body on ice to try and make them survive for another 50 years until they find. That's like what she's doing, but she's just trying to sleep through all this bullshit. She's like,
oh man, I'm close to dying, and I'll just, you know what? I'll just freeze in here. But then her Titan time would still run out at some point, right?
Yeah, I would assume so.
But if she's not physically aging,
that's an interesting question, I guess.
Interesting panic. Very
interesting.
Interesting.
She's just gonna turn to dust suddenly one day.
It is interesting that Armin feels like he can't talk to anyone but Annie. I think that's very interesting. I mean, I feel like he's kind of always been a simp, but like, why her? Very interesting. This whole show.
I wonder why. There can't be a reason for that, surely.
Interesting.
Is that interesting?
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Ho ho ho.
Yeah. I feel like this episode has been funny because I feel like it's just all us mostly memeing, and then PK is like, "Hey, I have like cool insight," and we're like, "Sorry, we have jokes to make." So,
we've been talking about every episode. Pak hasn't been here for the last 8 weeks.
I mean, I'm just vibing.
Speaking of jokes, I'm going to post on stream this great screen cap of Hanj from the episode. That's great. Good job, Hanj.
Falco in chat said, "Been listening for 3 minutes and nobody has said Aaron Goat yet. What is this?" Well, we do have Keep Moving Forward, which is said almost as much as Goat. So we're trying to divvy it up. But if anyone wants to yell out an Aaron Goat, feel free. Oh, I've retweeted that fan art of Foes there. That was me. I didn't draw that, but I am responsible for that.
Well, we finally got Man Bun Aaron.
That is important.
Yeah.
He's here to bring back the Man Bun.
In the meantime, I was going to ask Pak. So, what are your thoughts on the series thus far? Because 9 episodes in, I've talked to you about it, but I was wondering, like, how do you feel about how everything's going down?
It's going quite slower than I imagined, which means it's going to end sooner than I imagined.
Mm-hmm.
I believe there's only 16 episodes this season.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So, let's just say it's going to be interesting where they choose to end it.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that's true. I don't know where it's going to end, and we've heard some grumblings over a potential movie, but I've not really seen sources on that. So I'm with you, and I'm not sure where it's going to end, especially since we have seen previews that would indicate we're going to see some things that I'm not sure if we'll get to.
They're just gonna like erase 30 chapters, like The Promised Neverland, and just be like,
That's what I've been saying. Anime original ending, and then a movie.
It's too soon, guys. We can't talk. We can't bring up such sensitive subjects. So
maybe they'll bring Goldie Pond to this show, and then.
No, Harley was kind of like Goldie Pond. That was kind of almost similar. Well, that's a reach, but whatever, close enough. People die. So, yeah,
what?
I think
Spoilers.
What?
Yeah. So I would never spoil Goldie Pond. I was thinking actually that Hanji picture is a great reaction face for like seeing manga spoilers on the timeline.
Shoot, your only good eye.
Yeah. Oh, that's so true. She only has one good eye. She can't really take risks with that.
Well, I think she was pointing it at her non-eye, which is why I love it so much.
Is she?
I think so.
Maybe.
It looks like it.
Yeah.
Maybe,
we can make that the thumbnail. That would be a funny thumbnail. So this is mumbo jumbo for you guys, but there's disputes over if they'll end it at chapter 119 or 120, 122. I don't remember what happens in either of those chapters, so that means nothing to me because I have a terrible memory and have to go back and look at it.
I mean, I kind of know. I think it's going to be ending at 119, which means nothing to shock or anyone here. So
it's absolutely nothing. So no need to shoot eyes out over spoilers. I'm going to have to look that up because I'm like, what goes down?
According to Mr. Public, Mr. Hiding in Public, that is apparently when Attack on Titan will break you.
It's an interesting one. I don't even remember what happens. I bet maybe I've just been broken too many times from this series that I've, it's like which break, the fourth, the fifth, just add it to the list. But
Has there been
yeah.
anything yet that has broken you?
Um,
That you would say it's on the scale of breaking the viewer? Sasha.
okay, I think the things that will happen are more extreme than things that we've already seen happen, but it's just a different scale. It's just a different perspective. So,
Man,
I mean,
wow.
if the question is, will we still have some interesting things? The answer is yes, hard yes.
Okay, good.
Classic
excited to
Ulysses
see
says the trailer confirms chapter 122.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
True.
Well,
Okay.
that's a spoiler. They shouldn't have said that.
Oh. Well, I haven't seen the
Why?
trailer, and I don't know
Is
what
it?
happens in
I haven't
122.
read
So.
it.
I'm just joking with you guys. It's
Oh my god.
well, to be honest,
Are
the
you
trailer
spoiling?
showed a lot of footage that technically did not translate to the anime because it looks a lot more polished in the trailer than it does in the anime.
It
Some of the
does.
footage anyway.
Maybe they just
Yeah,
made the
and we don't
trailer
know.
before they actually
We don't
finished the
know.
animation.
Yeah, they pre-made that trailer before I believe they started working on the anime,
Damn.
which is quite weird.
That is interesting.
I will
the
say,
way I like to-
Mappa has been holding up pretty okay. This episode didn't look very good though. I'll just say.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was me because I was being like
Oh, I did
I
super
think
last
that-
minute and watching it on my phone, but I thought some of the character designs looked a bit off.
Yeah,
but I
they
didn't want to
were
complain
off.
about it because I was watching on my phone.
Connie
They-
looked a little off at some point, but that was
And
really
he's
all I
just born
noticed.
like that.
To be fair, Connie always looks a little bit off.
Connie always just looks like shit. But
Poor
what was I
Connie.
saying?
The
Shit,
kid gets a
dang it.
fucking
Oh,
break.
God.
I love
Oh,
him on
shit.
Connie.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
why.
that's what I
He
thought.
doesn't deserve it, but I just love it.
I mean, for what it's worth, if there was an episode they could afford to, I guess, whiff on, it was this because
Yeah,
not
I
a
was
whole
gonna
lot
mention that
happened.
as well.
Agreed.
So
Yeah, I agree. I think it was like still had like really cool looking moments, like the whole shooting range
Mhm.
transition into that conversation. Like that was really cool. I think they kind of like, as usual, have kind of put their budget where it matters. Not budget, their focus and attention where it matters. But you know, as you said, if they had to kind of, if they kind of had to, you know, I don't want to say slack off because I feel like that's misleading. If there was one episode that could suffer from that, I feel like this was definitely the one. So still props to them. The staff is doing really good. If you had told me months ago that between Haikyuu, The Promised Neverland, and Attack on Titan, that Attack on Titan would have the most consistent adaptation thus far, I would have laughed.
that is pretty
So,
crazy.
Good job to the staff working on this, doing like kind of miracle work with that schedule. So good job to them.
Bless.
Papa bless. Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much to say on this because I'm also just, I feel like I'm just gonna keep talking. I feel like I'm just gonna keep talking about how Zeke and Levi have the best dynamic, mostly because I just think it's so funny. I think it's just like,
anything left would be like speculating for future events, but like nothing. Today was just a lot of questions being answered. It wasn't a whole lot of, oh shit, what's gonna happen next time?
yeah, exactly.
It's a calm after the storm rather than before the storm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, that's good. That's a good way of putting it. Other animations that Mappa's doing, they're doing Jujutsu Kaisen, and next season they have Zombieland Saga.
I believe
Yeah.
they also have Chainsaw Man.
And they do have Chainsaw Man.
Oh, wait.
they're doing a lot.
Are they?
It's impressive. Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
not know that. I didn't even
They've been-
realize I was getting an anime.
Yeah, it was like an announcement that it was gonna get an anime, and the studio was announced like at the same time. It was because normally they do like one then the other, but that one was just like all at once.
If they don't announce the studio, then it's safe to assume it's just Mappa.
Yeah, just take a guess.
Too
It,
many episodes.
Soul Test.
80%.
Or Cloverworks now. Cloverworks also very busy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, good questions. Pac, did you have anything you wanted to add about like what happened beforehand up until now, or
Well,
like?
just thinking about that, I think we covered a lot of bases for the episode and before that as well.
Yeah.
It's just looking towards the future,
We just have to keep
Moving
moving.
forward.
which we can't say anything about.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you predictions. I'm like, no, we can't. It's like I don't know. What are they
Nope.
gonna do? We know, but
Speaking of moving forward, gotta move forward to the big game.
yeah. So as someone mentioned later, if we're like aware that the Super Bowl's on in an hour, and we
Had
and they
no
made-
idea.
we had no idea, even though Patrick Mahomes
What the
is
fuck is the
Mahomes'
Super
dad.
Bowl? I'm not American. What's this?
So
Same.
it's so fitting because I don't know the metric system and you don't know the Super Bowl. So now I feel like it's like even though you actually know the Super Bowl and I don't actually know the metric system as well.
Well, it's probably a fair comparison. Like, you know of the metric system.
I've heard of it.
I know about the Super Bowl. I don't know shit about American football.
It's okay.
Wait, it's
you're
about
probably
American
better.
football. I thought it was about ads.
Yeah, that's
That is
that and the
true.
weekend
That's- yeah,
performance.
Nah,
I'm
this
rooting
time
for-
it'll be about COVID-themed messages of solidarity from big brands who don't actually give a shit.
Honestly,
that'd be great.
You know, I don't even care
It'll
about
be
the game that much.
and Disney Plus commercials.
Who's gonna do the halftime show this year? Do we know?
the
The
weekend.
weekend.
They apparently snubbed him at the Grammys because he was going to do the halftime show.
I'm
so.
more excited for that because I want him to bring Daft Punk.
Me too. That's my only.
If Daft
hope.
Punk
Just bring
if Daft Punk is there, and they probably will be, I'm gonna lose my shit.
They have to.
Same.
They
They're
have to.
robots.
They're robots. They can't get sick.
That's true.
They can't.
they
can't get COVID, they're
they
robots.
enforce mask protocol.
Yeah.
Very healthy.
Yeah. So they've been wearing masks since like '97. So they
They
invented.
knew. They tried to warn us, but we
Daft
didn't
Punk
listen.
invented wearing masks.
I love them. The weekend will probably be the best part, and that's pretty cool because his messages don't involve COVID and positivity. They're just like, "Hey, I really like cocaine." That's all.
Fuck yeah, cocaine.
He like literally writes like love songs for cocaine and like probably real people, but also cocaine. So it's a nice switching up the messages from these times have been hard. Buy a Toyota.
In these unprecedented times.
That's like the beginning of all of them, and it's like, please buy this expensive car.
These uncertain times. It'll just be cuts of empty streets and insurrections at the White House, and that's all it's gonna be. I
It's
swear
a
to God.
normal day in Burgerland.
Yeah. So everyone, please wish Maz and his dad some good luck. Patrick Mahomes.
Good
You
Probably-
know,
luck,
it's kind of
Patrick
awkward
Mahomes.
because I'm actually going to be watching the game with my actual dad, so it's like, I better not tell him about these jokes.
Well, tell
I'm
him good
making
luck.
on the
What the
internet.
fuck is he doing watching it?
Please just turn to your dad and be like, why couldn't you be Patrick Mahomes?
I wish Patrick Mahomes was my real dad.
Like Maz is older than Patrick Mahomes. Like
Yeah.
Perfect. I have no fucking idea who that is, but
Yeah, same. Just laugh along, man.
Someone pointed this out. Okay, this is like actually interesting. I won't go into it too much, but this is cool because Tom Brady, you guys might have heard of him, the resident
Tommy
best
Brady.
quarterback. Tommy
Yeah.
Brady. Tommy Two
Never heard of him.
What is it?
Tommy
Two-Shoes?
Two-Tone.
Yeah. So he's like the best quarterback of possibly all time, but at least this generation. And now Patrick Mahomes is looking to be the new most dominant quarterback. So it's kind of like old school versus new school. So it's kind of like a battle of the ages.
Oh.
So the narrative is actually kind of
Pretty
interesting.
cool.
So
This is like some pro wrestling
It's a
narrative
shame the
type
Yeah.
sport
shit.
is so boring.
this is
but what?
WWE. Yeah.
cool.
Hang on, it's just like how Gabby is like similar to Aaron, but she's younger and doesn't have a Titan yet. It's like the same character we saw in the beginning of the season. Ah, the parallels.
Oh my god, the cycle of violence, but instead of violence, it's football.
Football is not
Sports.
violence.
Football is a
Cycle
cycle
of
of
sports.
violence.
Football is violence.
That's a good one. That's a good place to end it.
all I imagine now is Gabby throwing a football at Sasha.
Yeah,
You're
Sasha
good
is
at
the
it.
football.
So hard that she died.
Oh my god. Love that. Well, I have like tons of wings to eat. Maz has a party and a dad to adopt.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you guys have non-American football to watch. And so now you guys
You have
can
to go to
forget about
bed
the
because
Super
it's
Bowl.
like 11 p.m.
Yeah.
You guys have to go to bed. So night. But thank you to
Night-night,
Pac
pretty
for
much.
joining us. We're gonna have you on for another episode because you didn't deserve to just get the one like 30-minute episode. But since you had such great contributions and we love talking to you, so we will have you back on if you're available. Maz, thanks for hosting this, and Panic, thank you for talking at I'm gonna push it to 2 a.m. because that makes it sound like you're staying up forever to talk about this. So
Oh, yeah.
So
The
thank
sun-
you guys.
The sun is rising, actually. It's
The
morning.
sun is
Yeah,
rising.
thanks for having me on. I'll look forward to being on in the future.
Yeah.
And we'll
For
look
sure.
forward to it.
Thank you to everyone for listening to us. I'm sorry we don't have a longer episode. We're not just ending this because of the Super Bowl, but that is kind
Yeah.
of like 70%. So
But
please excuse us. We
it's
have
not the only
ads.
reason, but yes, it is.
It's not the only reason, but like more than half of the reason.
But do we need another, really?
We got so please go cheer on Maz and his dad. That's all.
Yes.
Yep.
And we'll see you next week, same time, same place.
Same grumbling.
Bye.
We'll just
Bye.
keep moving forward.
Bye.
Goodbye.
That was like